Hey there internets, I'm Michael and this is Toucan Play That Game, teaching you how to play Creature College by Happy Otter Games. So let's take it to the table. To start setting out the game, first thing you need is for each player to pick what colour they're going to be. Once they've done this, you'll give that player the appropriate board and then the tokens numbered 1 to 9 for that colour and the 6 cubes of that colour. 5 of these cubes they'll put on their player boards on the element track at 0 for each of the elements. The 6th cube will go on the term track, which will need to be set out in the middle of the table. It will be going in the player order, so you're going to want to at this point determine your player order. I like to just randomise it, so red would be first and then blue second. Also on the term track you're going to want your black cube set out for marking the various rounds. You'll also need in the centre of the table your battle card dice and your research dice. And then also you'll want the lovely gems. So you've got the green victory gems and the red lost gems. You'll also want to shuffle up all your battle cards and have a draw pile for those. The same with your victory points research cards, your element track research cards and your gem research cards. Then get all of the red abilities cards and shuffle these together and deal 3 to each player. Players will look at the 3 abilities cards that they've been dealt and then they'll pick one of these to keep, placing it face up in the abilities slot on their player board. The rest will go back to the box. Then do the same for your missions cards, giving 3 to each player, which they'll then look at and choose 1 to keep. These missions will give victory points as denoted on the bottom of the card if you manage to complete them. And you'll complete them by having the element track at the appropriate level for the card. And it will then sit face down on your secret mission spot of your player board. The next thing to do is to get your creature cards, and these have Creature College on the back. You'll want to separate out your 3 Kevin the Gigapig cards, one at level 5, one at level 7 and one at level 9, and also depending on the number of players remove some of the other cards. So for a 2-player game you'd remove all the creature cards with a value of 1 or 2 and 7 with a value of 5. Then take the creature cards that you're left with and shuffle them up. Then deal them into 3 piles. Then take the Gigapig cards that you set aside, add the 5 power one to your autumn pile, the 7 to your winter pile and the 9 to your spring pile, and then shuffle each of the piles. This is the table then all set up for a 2-player game. To win the game, you'll want to finish the year with the most victory points. These victory points will be coming from your victory point lab cards, your victory gems, and also from your element tracks, giving you the victory points given on the top, and also if you complete your secret mission. The year is made up of 12 rounds, split into the 3 terms. Each term will have 3 rounds of bidding for monsters, and then 1 fight round. As you complete each round, you'll just move on to the next until you finish the final spring fight, and that's the end of the game. To start a bidding round, you'll reveal a number of creature cards from the appropriate deck, so autumn, winter or spring, equal to the number of players plus 1, except for in a 6-player game, you'll still only reveal 6 cards rather than 7. In a 2-player game like this, that would mean revealing 3 cards. You would then start with your player whose token is on the first spot. They would pick one of their numbers from 1 to 9 tokens and place it on a card. So for example, the red player places a 6 on this Sparks Franklin card. That's them bidding for that card. Play then passes to the next player. So the blue player could now place a number on one of the other cards or place a higher number on the same card. So for example, the blue player can play their 7 onto Sparks Franklin. That now means that they have won that card. The red player then has to move their token onto one of the other cards. Then each player will take their token and their card into their play area. So the blue player here won their Sparks Franklin, so they add that to their play area. Their numbered token they put back, but they flip it over so that the number's not revealed. So everyone's always aware of what numbers each player still has. Then the player will increase their element track based on the card that they bought. So for example, Sparks Franklin is air, so we increase the air track by 1. If it's a wild, you do not increase the element track until the end of the game. You then readjust the player order based on the tokens that people played. Whoever played the highest number becomes first player, and so on until you reach the person who played the lowest number. Then in player order, each player will roll the battle dice and the research dice. They then pick whether to use the battle dice to take the number of cards listed of battle cards, or to use their research dice to take one of the 2 different types of research lab listed. So here we have the victory points and element track options. So the player could choose to either take a victory point lab research lab, or to take an element track research lab, or 2 battle cards. Once all the players have done this, you'll then discard any creatures left in the middle of the game board and then move on to the next round. If during a bidding round you reveal Kevin the Giga Pig, you will then have to fight him at the end of the bidding round and you draw an extra card to replace him. If you get to the 3rd bidding phase and you've not yet had Kevin the Giga Pig out, then you should only have 1 card left in your deck. You reveal that so that you will be fighting Kevin that turn. So you'll fight Kevin once each turn. Then for a fight round, you'll start with your first player, so in this case it would be blue, and they will then pick from cards that are available to fight with 1 element to attack the players to either side of them. They'll be attacking both players using the same creatures, but they'll pick which player they attack first, the left or the right. In a 2-player game, you only have 1 opponent to pick. So the blue player here could select air using the wild as an air, and you can only use 1 wild per battle. So they would have a strength of 8, and they're attacking the red player. And the red player only has a card sideways, that is air. And when a player finishes battling with a card, that they would turn it sideways. So he can no longer be used to defend. He can, however, defend with the wild using it as air, but he only has a score of 3. However, he has battle cards he can play, giving him an extra 5, putting his symbiote into a score of 8, meaning the players have drawn. If you draw during a battle, no one takes any win gems or lost gems. However, the blue player also has a plasma pistol that he's going to give to Sparks Franklin, meaning he wins. As the player who declared the battle and having won, he would get to take win gems. So he'd get 2 of the green gems, each worth 1 victory point at the end of the game. However, in a 2-player game, you get 6. So he'd get 6 green gems for winning. Also, he would get bonus gems because he has a gem research card here. So he'd get 2 extra green gems. Now, because this is a 2-player game, any of these gem research lab cards are doubled. So he gets an additional 2 as well. So for winning that, he got 10 victory points. If he had lost, he would have got 2 of the -1 gems, which are the red ones in a 3 or more player game. In a 2-player game, he would have got 4. Then any battle cards played, including the defending players, will get discarded. And the attacking player will turn their cards sideways, having resolved the attacks with both players. It's important to note that your battle cards do not carry over from one player to the next. Also, this red player who was defending does not turn their card sideways for defending. It stays upright. And it would now be the red player's turn to attack. So they could attack with fire, having a strength of 4. And the blue player has no creatures or battle cards to defend with, so they fail to defeat the red player. So the red player would get green crystals for winning. The defending player for losing does not take the red crystals though. It's only if you declared the fight that you take in any crystals, be it green or red. Then when you get to the end of the game, you'll total up all your points. So you'll total up any points for your tracks, for your missions, any research labs that have victory points in, and whoever has the most has won the game. And that is how you play Creature College. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends and family. And do also take a look at us on social media. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching and bye for now.